Thank you for the introduction. I've been sitting here all day listening to everybody, very nervous about when it's my turn. And especially because I kept communicating with my children, and my son said, "Didn't they say it's a youth conference? What are you doing there?" So I said, "You mind your business." Some people are youthful by heart and not physically. And I told him that I'm actually what you call a modern digital elder. So I think that's why I'm here. Well, let me start. This is a very serious occasion, and I'm glad to be part of it. And I'm the one person here who doesn't have a long relationship with Joel, JPI Youth. Where did I meet him? On LinkedIn. He sent me a message. He said he was having a conference in Nigeria. I wish he were here because I want to talk to him. He was having a conference in Nigeria, and I had just gotten through a lot of brouhaha in Lagos State over politics and over whether I should come back to the cabinet or not. And my head was really spinning out of control. So I traveled out. I went to stay with my daughter for like 9 weeks. So I said, well, I'm not around. I won't be around for a while. But I was wondering, who's this guy? I don't know this guy. I don't know him at all. So I went online, and of course, everybody in my family was Port Harcourt. Who's he? Please don't go. In fact, up till now, I think my husband is still very cross with me. That why are you going? But I think something made me come, because normally I wouldn't have, honestly, because I didn't know the other speakers except the celebrities. And who am I besides this? Even my children keep asking me, are you in the same room with Alibaba? Are you sure? I said, I am. They said, but you are not funky at all. How come you are with Kanayo? And I said, there is even one young doctor, from Ondo State. I have never seen this kind of teaching before. How can I come and stand in there? They said, Mommy, go ahead and stand and do your bit. So I will try and do my own bit. Because I do believe I must be the oldest person in the room. And just to give you an indication that my firstborn is clocking 40 later this year. But my mother is alive. I still have my mother, and she lost her mother 10 years ago. So at 80, at nearly 80. So I'm still a child. I'm somebody's child. So I think I qualify to be here. I met him online. I said I would come, and we've been exchanging mails. After a while, I said, I do this for a living. I'm a consultant. I talk for a living. I'm not a celebrity. And this is how I pay the salaries of my staff. He said, okay. he would compensate me for coming. Though, I mean, that wasn't why I came. Because I came because I knew I had to do this. But I also know that it's my living, and I have to make a living, don't I? I'm sure you will not fight with me for making a living from what is my living. So we are supposed to talk about innovative learning. I do have slides, but I just changed my mind while everybody was talking and said, I too would, I won't read the slides. I will talk because I want to talk from my heart, because this is something that really, really drives me. Remember your pastor said, I was you. Believe it or not, I was you. Some years ago, many, many years ago, very young. I entered UI at 15. I finished youth corps before I celebrated my 21st birthday. So I was very young. I was one of the young. I had never sat beside a boy in class in my life. I went, maybe in primary school, I went to a girls' school. And my mother had told me a lot of things, including you will just get pregnant. So sitting beside a man for me was, this is how pregnancy... Honestly, you won't believe it. I was that naive. So I was very nervous throughout my stay in UI, and I did not really enjoy it. Of course, I was brilliant. I have to say that one of my greatest skills is an ability to pass any exam that comes my way. Whether I know it or not, I have a way of passing. I have a telegraphic memory. Many of the things that were said today, If you ask me, I can say it. I think I remember it in my mind. But I always say, so for one of my children, I did ask her, are you clever? Or you are good at remembering like your mommy? I don't believe you are that clever. And I had to move her out of the school where she was always first and go and challenge her where she was never first. So this your modern digital elder is a bit of a radical, isn't she? Yeah. So let's talk. Against all odds, life is very difficult for you now at this point, isn't it? If I tell you what it was like when someone like me left school, you probably think it was easier. You finished, you got married. In fact, you finished, I was too young to marry, so I went for a master's, after which I got married. Then you start having children. Then you bring them up. And the thing was that you were going to work for some years. I worked in UBA. You would retire, and then you would live on your pension. When you enter UBA, every officer who entered with a master's degree like mine was officer forgotten. And you bought a car. So I bought a car, thinking that in 2 years' time, and by the time I'm manager, everybody who was manager was using a Benz or a Volvo. By the time I'm manager, I'll use a Benz or a Volvo. Needless to say, that Passat, I used it for 13 years. Because life had totally changed in Nigeria by then. And it keeps on changing. So you can imagine how traumatized somebody like me would be, because it just looks bleak. But I know that against these odds, it is possible to be successful. And one of the things that I want to harp upon is the fact that you need to keep learning. The odds are seriously against any young person, if you look at it very well. But in the midst of all this, I've seen many young people who are doing well. And I'll use a lot of anecdotes. My PA is an undergrad in one of the universities in Lagos. She's my PA. She comes to see me twice a week. She does all my slides, she does all my writing, she does everything. But she's an undergraduate. I'm very worried about her exams and so, but she's like, no, don't worry. Just come and see me once or twice a week. We do all our communicating online and so on and so forth. She's very skilled. If you know how I got her, and if you know how much she earns a sizable proportion of my own income. And that's because she's very skilled, but she's an undergraduate. And she comes from a very poor home. She went to a Lagos State school or something, a public school. But she is my PA, and I had to pay her well because she's removed a lot of trouble from me. Again, I have a student. I said I couldn't give my whole profile. I happened to move to Oshogbo. I worked there for 2 years. I ran a public school in Oshogbo, where, the school fees were 2,000. Some children paid 10 times. Just to show you the kind of demographic. I was coming from Corona, where the school fees were in millions, to where it was 2,000, and some students paid 10 times. Now, yes, 200 today, 50 tomorrow. Because the poor student after school is selling oranges. Now, my best student, who never dropped below 90% in any subject, when she finished, in fact, I read her valedictory address. I said, let me read your address as the valedictorian of the class. When we finished, I came back to Lagos. Governor changed. I wasn't going to wait for political wahala there. Came back to Lagos, and one day called her, how are you? Where are you? She said, I'm in my sister's shop, and she's paying me 10,000. I nearly fainted. All that intellect gone. I said, okay, come to Lagos. Got a group together. Bought her laptop, gave her scholarship, did this. I didn't know all the while this girl had taught herself ceramics. She's in university now in her final year. She has hardly called me for anything. But sometimes I say, how are you? She said, I'm fine. Because she does ceramics, she pays her school fees herself. So she's fine, she's comfortable. If you look at it, is it not the deliberate development of skills? Am I making sense? The deliberate development of skills. Not sitting in one place. I did microbiology. Many people come to me, get me a job. Where am I going to get you a job? There are no jobs. Do you want to be a teacher? Nobody wants to be a teacher. Whereas, with all due respect, for me, I'm sure your professions are great, but this is the greatest profession of all. Because after all, I think what I look at myself and say, I am nurturing, I'm developing, I am growing, I am responsible for Nigeria's treasure. And this is Nigeria's treasure. And I'm responsible for it. That's why I believe it's the best profession. But I won't go into that. Nobody even told me to tell you the business of education. because there's a lot of money in education. But let's leave that. It's all right. I'm not annoyed. They said I should tell you about learning, innovative learning. Because what we have in the labor market today is not lack of jobs. It's lack of skills. So many of our schools, you come out of school, there's a total misalignment between what the economy wants and what you've done in school. I don't say you shouldn't read all the things. My first degree was in zoology before I went for an MBA. But after many years working in the bank and so on, and when I found that I'm now in this education thing, that's when I went to do PGD and Masters in Education. So I'm not saying you shouldn't read whatever it is you are doing, but you need to develop skills. You just have no choice because there's a massive realignment, a massive misalignment. And the traditional skills that we all have are becoming obsolete, and new ones are emerging overnight. Now, we all know that our educational system is not preparing you for the realities of the workplace. Those of us who are campaigning against it, we are generally seen as, oh, you are too flighty, you are just talking about Yimbo things. So is it wrong for students to learn what they need to succeed in the workplace? Too many of our courses are theoretical. I tried to do my master's in education in Nigeria, but I saw that it was too theoretical. That's why I just did the online. And at my age, you can imagine reading that online program. There was a student of mine who I punished to come and be living in my house when I was his principal, because I used to study from 7 to 12. So he too must sit beside me, studying from... That was my punishment to him. Many of you are also learning disciplines for which there are just no jobs. It has been said that the jobs of the future have not been invented. Now, let me tell you when I was in Lagos State, the most successful educational model was the technical college. 3 years, Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3. After 3 years, we took the statistics. Where are the students? What if I tell you that they were doing one of three things? One, they were attending technical courses in universities or polytechnics. They had gone to do elect or HND. Secondly, they were working, gainfully employed, well paid in technical organizations who realized that they had the skills to work there. And thirdly, they were engaged in their own business. We compared this to those who did ordinary school cert. 3 years after graduation, the bulk of them are on the streets, or in petrol stations as petrol station attendants, or just learning what those ones learned in the 3 years in technical college. Now learning to be a plumber or a carpenter or a sewing mistress and so on. Even people who leave university now, that's what they are doing, isn't it? There's a serious misalignment. And I remember talking to the HR managers of a number of companies. I was on a panel and they said, what do you want from young people today? And they said, well, the top hard skills, and I did a bit of research into this, they are digital marketing, app development, computer programming and coding, fashion design, construction, creative arts, healthcare, where there are endless opportunities, agriculture. Those were the top ones. There are others. But what are the top skills that you want people to exhibit as well? Personal leadership, collaboration and teamwork, flexibility, critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, digital literacy, and innovation. These are things that our educational system will not teach you, but these are things that you can teach yourselves. They are not subjects. They are not. They are just a way of thinking. And this is something I've always wanted to. And as a digression, I am trying to set up schools. I think I have a new business now. At my age, I should be retiring and looking after babies. But since you people are talking about 9 months, don't let 9 months... I too have learned not to let 9 months disturb me, but start to do other things. But these are things you just have to learn yourself. And I think what you have to do individually. And I say against all odds, it looks bad, it looks tough, it looks difficult. But no, it's not. You have to reimagine your career. You have to reimagine and develop those skills that I mentioned. And how do you develop them? There are so many online courses. I don't even know that. Even I myself, I've done so many courses on Coursera. I've done on edX. I've attended so many sessions. Here you are here. You are learning a lot. I hope you have taken away a lot from today. I was just jotting notes. Remember when the gentleman about real estate, I was sending to my children, this man is selling property. He said, you have 10,000, put it in it. Go and find money instead of working and buying big cars, so on. So you have to develop the best habits. And like many people have said, I have thought about how can one have I've mentioned it looks creative thinking, critical thinking, blah, blah, blah. How do I develop this as an individual? And I want to encourage you and show you a framework. Others have said 1, 2, 3, and I want you to take everything that has been said. I'm just adding a layer to everything that has been said. And by the way, this is where I will talk about somebody who I met a week before he died. And that was later that week. We had never met him before. But I wanted to set up a foundation because I want to open free schools for out-of-school children where they don't pay, but I would find a way to fund it. So he heard and invited me, and he talked to me. We were at it for about 1 hour. And he said, well, I can't give you. You two have to do something for me. I said, I'm not bold. I'm a teacher. He said, no, that's no excuse. While I will support you, you need to support me in my university. And he told me what he wanted me to do. I said, I will try. He said, why are you not bold? You said you want to set up 3 schools by September. I need 1,500 students by September. I said, I'm not a banker like you anymore. I'm not bold or anything. He said, join me, and I will teach you to be fearless. A week later, that thing happened. But I know he left that thing with me, and I urge all of you to be fearless. Don't be afraid. All the people who came here today, if they had been afraid, they wouldn't move forward. So I use the framework that I try to use is a framework to recreate yourself. And as a trainer for many years of the 7 Habits, who has ever read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Yeah, a few of you. It's a very interesting book by someone called Stephen Covey. Now, I was a facilitator for over 20-25 years. And there are certain habits that will help you on this journey. Now, don't take it as gospel truth. Just take it and say, this is a particular framework. Build on it, add to what you've been learning and what you are going to continue learning the rest of today. Number 1, you must be proactive. You must accept responsibility for yourself. Nobody is responsible for you but you. My parents did this. My parents don't have money. My parents did this. No. They've done their bit. And they have. You can't keep blaming them by the time you're an adult. Be proactive. God has given you everything you need to be great in life. That's my belief. And the greatest book for me, and I read it all the time, is Nehemiah. And I could see that in that young man, God had deposited everything he needed to do to go back and build the wall. So everything is in your hand. Be proactive. Accept responsibility for who you are. Then everything you do, begin with the end in mind. They've told you, don't move with bad friends. Don't move with people who will tell you all sorts of things. When I became a commissioner, the people closest to me were the ones who were wishing I would fail. They were the ones who were doing things like, what is she doing? What is it? All sorts of things like that, who never saw anything good. Of course, I never end relationships, so I retained it. But I know in my heart who was on my side and who was not on my side. So remember to begin with the end in mind. Any activity that you are doing, plan for it. Don't engage in activities that waste your time. Don't engage in frivolity. Don't engage in silly Twitter wars that lead to nothing. Just talk. At the end of it all, what have you done? Made yourself miserable. Following that influencer who is wearing this, wearing that, carrying that bag. You don't know how they got it. Wait, you will carry your own. You want to carry a Prada bag? Ladies, do you believe it will happen? A Prada bag? You want to carry a Hermes bag, a $50,000 Hermes bag? Someday it will come. Don't keep looking at that person and say, she's carrying Hermes bag. And then you sit in one corner and not do anything. You need to walk. It shouldn't come by wishing for it. So begin with the end in mind. Any activity that you're engaged in, begin with the end in mind. And then number 3, put first things first. Don't allow distractions. Don't allow. You know, I'm a Yoruba person. I should be all those things. My mother will worry me. So-and-so is getting married. You didn't go. And then when my child is getting married, it will reduce my expenses because they will not come. I have no problems with that at all. Everybody sits in their house. So because of that, I will now be taking all sorts of clothes. One day you open your wardrobe. Many clothes inside. None are your taste. Some of those clothes are really horrible. Or they are cheap and nasty. And when you send it to your tailor, she will tell you, and this Ankara is very low quality. Let's just do boo-boo with the round neck. Because in the meantime, they are taking a lot of money from you. You are still going to give them money. Put first things first. Don't allow life to distract you. Those 3 things should lead you from a process where you are dependent on others to where you are independent. You know who you are. You are strong in yourself. You are certain in yourself. You are sure of yourself. And you are going to toe the path of life the way you want to do it with God behind you. Don't forget, everything at the end points to God. Don't be far from Him at all. So after you've done all those, be proactive. What did I say? Begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. That's habit 2. Say it. Habit 3 is put first things first. That means you reach a state of independence. I know who I am. Now, you can't live life alone, can you? You have to live with other people. And so the next 3 habits talk about how you relate with other people. Think win-win is habit 4. You will observe that they are verbs. They are doing things, action things. So think win-win. That means that in any relationship and whatever you do, I want to win, sure, but I want you to win as well. So I will always come and try and give you value. I can come here. I've been teaching for many years. I can fumble and wumble my way, actually, through any. I went on a training in Gambia, and the person teaching IT did not come. So they now said, would I take the class? Of course, I took the class. I fumbled and wumbled. When somebody asked me a difficult question, I say, very interesting. Let's break into groups. Let's have group discussion. They will discuss it. By the time they are done, you know, they have told me the... So... A teacher can fumble and wumble. But I want to think win-win. I want you to win. I want to win. That means I want this to be of value to you and to have value to me. I've learned so much from everybody here. You didn't know you came. You thought you came here to learn from me. Well, I came here to learn from you. And I came here to be in the same room with celebrities. So I'm very... When I get home, I'll be showing off. Oh, the other day when Ali Baba said this and that. Thank you. So habit 4, think win-win. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood, which means empathy. Think about the other person's perspective, not always about yourself. You see, when you do that, you will have beautiful relationships, because I always think, when they say he did this or that, I always say, maybe there's more to it. Let's interview, let's ask. And the 6th habit is synergize, which just means 2 plus 2 is greater than 4. It means 2 plus 2 can be 100. 2 plus 2 can be 1,000,000. 2 plus 2 is greater than 4. If 2 plus 2 is 4, then it's mediocre. You cannot stand in a mediocre place. You can't stand for it. If you were a child in my house, you would know that I would not stand for it. Let me tell you what I used to tell my children. 50 children are somewhere. 49 are misbehaving. You better be the one. The one behaving. Why should they influence you? Why can't you influence them? So when my daughter says, wherever she goes, she remembers that mommy will say, 50 children are somewhere, madam. Don't let me. If I come to your school, one day there's something happened in her school. People bullied, they did all sorts. They asked her, why did you not join them? She said, you do not know my mother. Because be fair to everybody around you. Synergize. 2 plus 2 can be greater than 1,000,000. Can you imagine all of you in this room? Can you not look at what is happening in places like House of Assembly and so? You mean you can't do it? You can, and you probably do it better. Remember, Synergize. And the seventh habit, which is the most important for all of you in this learning journey, is honestly to sharpen the saw. That is to remain always at the edge of everything that you are doing. I'm going to go back to sharpening the saw, but I want to tell you what you can do with your learning. You have to focus on future-proof skills. You cannot look at the skills that you are doing today. Even if you say, when I asked my daughter, very clever girl, on scholarship and everything, she said she's going to do microbiology for her degree. I said, what do you want to do with this microbiology, madam? She sent me a spreadsheet with 130 occupations. At which point, I had to keep quiet. Because there were things that were future-focused. Focus on future-proof skills. Many skills are going to become obsolete. I had a secretary when I was in the ministry. I don't think I ever did anything other than she used to buy my food and relate with my tailor. I don't need somebody to type. I did my thesis, my master's. I wrote a 300-page document, 400-page document. I typed it all myself. I don't need a secretary. I don't need shorthand. I don't need such things. So focus on future-proof skills that will ensure that no matter what happens, you are relevant. Secondly, embrace digital learning. When I first started using the computer, people were laughing. Are you a secretary by profession? This was in UBA. So I learned computer, and I'm going to say some things. Tell me if you've heard of them before. Lotus 1, 2, 3, release 3. That yes was not genuine. How can you know Lotus 1, 2, 3, release 3? Only Word. Harvard Graphics. So I learned from those days even up till now. So I'm quite tech savvy. I use the computer to, I don't want to code, but now I'm regretting that I say such things. I must learn to code. Because, yes, now, can I not code? You have challenged me, I will code. Embrace digital learning and stay tech savvy. Don't become a dinosaur. So that people are, and when I was doing my master's, a lot of it was online. We had classes online. We had quizzes, tests, discussions. Some of my classmates would go, hey, ma, how are you coping? I had the best results in the class. I was just looking at them. I sit down there. Before you were born, I've been. So you should also, people have said it, all those networking relationships, and don't forget, with your networks, learn from them. The people I have never forgotten in my life, from my 3.5-year Lagos experience, were those who never asked me for anything, but said, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? I had somebody, she's on TV every day. She came to my office and said, what can I do for you? So every day after work, she used to come. She taught me a lot of things because I'm not really into media, personal branding and stuff like that. She taught me all of it. I'm still not great. I'm not sure I was a good student to her, but she taught me. I cannot forget her. So adopt it. That's what you do to your mentor. You give them something to. Adopt a lifelong learning mindset. Don't forget, don't stop learning. You must never stop learning. You must never. And remember those soft skills, creativity and co. I do a lot of thinking about the brain, reading about. When I was coming here on the plane, what I was reading was, why don't children do well in school? That's a whole lecture. Because I always wonder why. But there are many reasons, most bad teaching. Gain practical experience. This is, I'm almost done. My time is almost up. But I wanted to tell you that, you know how these things start? Giving, volunteering, interning. Be willing to do those things before you get it. You'll be surprised at how you will get a job from there. I had a youth corper in my office. He was so good. He digitalized all my files, did all sorts of things. When the youth corps ended, he stayed. I said, I don't have more than this amount to give you every month. He stayed. He's now doing big things everywhere. And there are all sorts of organizations now that you can join up with. There's an organization that, look at, Teach for Nigeria. Teach for Nigeria talks about, it's a fellowship program, it's a leadership program, 2-year program. Give us 2 years of your life. We'll turn you into a superb leader and teacher. The thing about it is about 70% never leave. But those that don't leave are entrepreneurs. They are setting up schools, setting up training centers. Some are delivering lectures around the world. Some have become global citizens, going to Dubai and all sorts of places. Keep your ears to the ground as a young person and start to wonder. There's Sheshewa. It's also internship focused. Go and find out. Sheshewa. You know, there's the recent thing by the Federal Ministry of Communication. How am I going to plug into that? Keep your ears to the ground. I have a discussion next week with the Latif Kayode Jakonde Institute of Leadership. They're just young leaders. It's a Lagos thing, but they were wise enough to make it broad-based, yes, national. So they are learning leadership skills. They are meeting politicians. They are meeting commissioners. They are sitting with the governor. What do you think will happen to them? So please walk the talk. I think I've come to the end of my listening, and I thank you very much for listening to the oldest person in the room. Thank you so much. God bless you all. I wish ask, where am I going to see you? I mean, pray for me to live like my mother and grandmother. So in 10, 20 years' time, where will you be? Where will I find you? Well done.